Okay, we have started recording. Let's start for today. So good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining this workshop, Scientific Communication e-workshop for researchers. So the whole point of this workshop is engaging our researchers to understand many important things, what we do in day to day, in day out of our research life. Major topics which will be covered in this workshop is it's on different days. You have seen the topics which is on the poster, which you can see on the screen. The first one will be anatomy of the scientific manuscript, where we will talk about the various procedure, how you have to write your manuscript, IMRAD format, and how you should respond to the reviewers, what is the process involved for submitting a paper, and so on and so forth. Whereas that will be today's session, and after that, the tomorrow's session will be where to publish. We will be having a session on identifying the very important journals, very reputed journals in Web of Science, otherwise SCIE, and Scopus index journals. How do you find, where do you find those journals? Some of the demos we'll be able to show during that session tomorrow. And how you can avoid predatory journals. That's very important, right? How you can avoid predatory journals, which are fake journals, in other words, how you can avoid. And COPE, COI, what do we mean by that? Afterwards, we'll be covering a little bit about LaTeX, what are the reference managers various we have, and we'll be showing some demos. And we'll be giving you some assignments so that you can work at your convenience for your own reference. Then we'll be shifting our gaze to research metrics, which is very important. If I'm a researcher, I should have, like how all of us have Aadhaar, PAN card, so on and so forth. Similarly, as a researcher to the research community, you should have Scopus ID, Web of Science ID, ARCID ID, and so on and so forth. We will be getting to know about it. We'll also know about what is open access policies, how is those indexed, how is it covered, and what is Sharper MO, and so on and so forth. The last day, we'll be having some of the government initiatives. What do you mean by Shodh Ganga, Shodh Sindhu, and iSTEM, IRINS, InflibNet, and who are these agencies? How is government taking this very seriously to promote across the entire India to bring this research forward? Having this, I want to thank BMS College of Engineering. We'll talk more about it in a minute. Our principal, Dr. S. Muralidhara, vice principals, Dr. Suresh and Dr. Bhim Shah. And I have an amazing team with me who will be the speakers, Dr. B. Venkatesh from Electrical Engineering of BMS, Netravati from Electrical of BMS, Balchandra from Telecommunication, Praphulla from Biotechnology, and Sainath from Chemical Engineering. I'd like to tell more about them in very shortly, but this is what we have planned for you for complete 5 days. Let me go to the next slide. By the way, I'm Dr. Abhishek Appaji. I head the Research and Development Center of BMS College of Engineering. I'm also faculty at Medical Electronics Engineering in BMS College of Engineering. So from my office, we take care about multiple things, like there are multiple PhD students where you should publish, and we'll guide them. We'll give some incentive for publications. We have patent office in my office, and so multiple PhD students, their scholarship, research grants, publications, many of the things all related to research and development. I take care in the university, in the college, liaison between the university and the college, and so on. I'm also guest faculty at Massachusetts University, and been a winner of Class 5 MIT Massachusetts Institute of Technology Bootcamp. And I also work volunteer for IEEE Bangalore section, and also a few other portfolios which you can see on the screen. Little bit about BMSCE before we go on to the actual job. BMS College of Engineering is one of the first private engineering college in the entire country. Pre-independence college, we started in 1946. Currently, we have 17 undergrad programs, 14 postgraduate programs, and 15 research centers. We almost have 350 research scholars across different engineering and sciences research centers, including MBA. And we have most of the programs eligible, all the eligible programs are accredited by NBA. And we have the highest grade in the country for NAC and NRF. We have ranked 83 in engineering colleges in the last year. And we are also very strong in terms of Melton Foundation. We are the one of the country, in the country, we are the only college which is affiliated with the other 7 countries, Melton Foundation, to exchange our cultural knowledge as well as technical knowledge. We do practice outcomes-based education. That's why we have been accredited by NBA, and we are the first pioneers to, understand about outcomes-based education and promote it across the country, and be a part of many of the processes. We are also beneficiary of TechWeb, TechWeb Technical Engineering Quality Improvement Program. So we have TechWeb 1, 2, 3. We are beneficiary, and we have scored very highest marks in that as well. We have been funded with various projects. As we speak, there are multiple projects which have been run in the college from various agencies, including DST, DBT, foreign agencies, Indian agencies, and so on. We have multiple industry established. This is very, very small thing about BMSCE, which I've tried to tell, but you can find a lot of other things which are easily available on our website. Please go ahead and watch as well as learn more about our college. We are happy, we are open for collaboration if there is some potential between both of us. Why are we conducting this workshop is to learn from each other. There may be something which is very important in this research world, because it's more like today's motto or today's philosophy is publish or perish. If you're publishing, then you are inside the teaching and education, especially engineering education. I know there are many people who have joined from different countries, as well as I saw the application. We had someone from Italy, someone from Indonesia, someone from other Eastern countries, Middle East countries, and so on. So we should learn from each other. One thing, we have assumed that all of you know what research is, at least the basics of research. You have already computed the work, and now you want to disseminate into multiple platforms. That's what we are going to cover in this research. We are not going to cover what is research, how you should do research, and so on. Once you have some solid work done, how you will publish, how will you disseminate, and how you make yourself to get more citations is what we are going to do in this workshop. One more aim is to remove the barriers of struggle what the researchers have in terms of multiple things, to not have access to some of the research, not have access to knowledge, not have access to facilities, and so on and so forth. How you can come and how you can make yourself visible in this highly competitive technical and non-technical fields. And please note, this workshop is common to any field of higher education, not necessary for engineering, though all of us are engineers, all the speakers, but we would give some examples related to engineering, but not necessary that it's applicable to engineering, but it is also applicable to all the higher education who have joined. So having said this, now we have resource persons. I would like to talk about each resource person very soon. But major thing which I want to tell you guys is how we have selected this resource person. Of course, I'll be there in and out between all the workshops. I'll be taking your questions and so on and so forth. But majorly, I'll be helping in terms of organization, more of coordination of this entire workshop, and giving some knowledge which other speakers won't be covering. But majorly, the speakers who have been selected for this program are speakers from different field of engineering, and they have expertise. They have done their PhD within 3 years. They've submitted their thesis or awarded their degree within 3 years, and they're published in their own field in wonderful journals, high impact factor and high quality journals. That's how we have selected, and these speakers are very I mean, they're very young, like many of us present here, and they want to share the knowledge with each other. Having said this, the last slide I want to talk about was some of the housekeeping announcements for this workshop. Please note that this is very, very high numbered participants workshop. So we almost have 1,000 registrations just before this workshop. Please ensure that you maintain some silence, which we have already made some silent by disabling your mic. But be interactive by giving emojis or answering the polls which we make in and out. So please ensure that you join just 10 minutes back, because we want to stick to the time and conclude the time, because we are almost at the flag end of the day. So at least 5 minutes before. Microsoft Teams is known to be notorious. So please ensure that you join before time, so that any of such problems you have, technical glitch, you can get in very soon and be stable. In case something gets disconnected, do not panic, do not do anything. Try to rejoin after 5 minutes. We will pause the workshop for a few minutes and we'll fix it and we'll get back to you. Say, for example, power goes at my place, then I will immediately switch to my iPad and then restart the meeting. So don't have that don't get panicked. So please join back. And any questions you have, there is a Q&A window in your screen. You can see in your app, which you have downloaded or on your screen. Please post your questions and Q&A. Chat is a little bit for everything like good morning, good evening, but nothing of sense happens in that. It's just to ensure that all of you are listening to me. If I ask, all of you are able to listen. Many of them posted on chat, which is only for our reference, but Q&A is something which you have questions and we want to answer. We'll be happy to do. And answer all the polls in Teams every day. Every day in the Teams inbuilt, we have polls. We'll have polls in the starting, we'll have polls at the end, we'll have polls in between. So be very active, answer the polls so that we can make it more interactive. And your attendance, you need not fill any form. Thanks to Microsoft Teams, it will automatically record the attendance and give us the attendance. All the members who attend all the 5 days will get the certificate, provided they fill the Google form, which will be sent at the end of the workshop, that is the 5th day, and we'll also take your feedback. Please fill that without fail. And last thing I want to repeat, have your emojis to respond to whatever we are asking, so that it's very easy for speakers to understand and some of the moderators to present. So having said this, let me start by giving your polls. So there are something known as polls. I have very simple questions. Please go to the polls and answer them. Let me release it for you. The first poll which I'm going to release it is, which college are you from? So the poll is launched. So please, there'll be a pop-up or go to polls. You should be able to submit your response. So just say which college you're from. In short, I will say it is BMSCE. So many of them are from our own college, but there are other colleges. You can see that on the right side. I mean, I'm able to see the screen. Let me share the screen so that if you're not able to see that, I should be able to show you. Just a second. Please do not put on chat window. Put it on your Teams. See, many of you are here, so you can see my response here. Somebody from Rajajinagar, Reva University, VJIT, BMSCE, College of Science, College of Technology. 71 of you have responded. Please ensure that you answer all the polls. I can see all your polls which is coming up. Many of you have answered from different colleges. It's very nice that we have pan-India. Most of them are from different parts of India, from local Bangalore where we are, and also from neighboring places like Udupi, and also from Bombay, neighboring states, pan-India, Delhi, I can see some of them, Hyderabad, many of them, Jain Institute of Technology, okay. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Keep answering the polls. I'll launch the other poll. I'll not close the previous poll so that yeah, there are a few people who couldn't answer. Let's go to the next poll. Please identify yourself. Are you a research scholar? Are you a faculty? Are you a PG student or UG student or something other than this? So please answer that. So for example, I'm a faculty, so I'll submit that. That's my answer. So I can see the response. There are almost 73% of them are faculty, 22% of them are research scholars. So there are more than 350 people who have joined. So thanks a lot. So we are expecting some more because of some technical glitch. Few of them have not joined. But I see most of you are faculty members, 72%, but there are few UG students, PG students, research scholars. Yes, so everyone please answer the polls. Do not post it on the chat. If you're not able to find the polls, check in the tabs on the right, left, bottom. Somewhere in the place you should be able to answer the polls. See, I guess you're able to see my screen. You can see the polls right on my top. I'm able to see the polls. Similarly, you're getting a pop-up like how I'm getting on the top. So please answer those polls, figure out how you should do those polls. Okay, so let's go to the next question. Yeah, please answer everyone. I've got only 85 responses. There are 300 plus people. Okay, so I'll keep this poll open. Let me go to the next poll. The next poll which I have, which city are you from? Just go to the poll and see, type which city are you from. I am from Bengaluru. So I have already answered. Many of them have answered Bengaluru. Okay, let's see. 2 of them have already replied. Vijaypur, Haliyal, Surat. Okay, already 36 response. I believe most of you are from Bengaluru. Lucknow, Mangalore, Uttara Tamil Nadu. Okay, Chikmagalur. That's nice. Nice to know that many of you have joined from different places. Please do answer. 95 people have answered. I want more answers. Please be interactive. Please be this, because online we know how it will be boring for our students also. So let's make it more interactive. Please use all the features of Microsoft Teams so that you can keep on answering those questions. Okay, the last question, which is very important for us, all these questions were just to make sure. I've already collected all your details, but just to make sure that you are used to this particular platform we have floated. The last one, which I want to launch before I introduce the speaker for today, is what are your expectations for this workshop? I have already launched it. So I want to know, what are the expectations of this workshop? What do you want to learn from this workshop? That's very important for us. Do you have any expectation, any specific expectation from this workshop? That's very important for us. You can write in 1 word or 2 words, not more than that, please, because it will be a little tough to read. So you want to process of publication, research and publication, quality paper. What else? What else do you want? Please let us know what else you want. Suitable journals, refereed journal, visibility and metrics, research tools. What else? Please let us know. We will be happy to cover that. Info about suitable journals. Okay. Anything else? Please put it. All those things we'll do our homework and ensure that most of the things what you have asked, we'll cover it, or we'll do another workshop to ensure that you will be covering all those things. So for people who cannot see the polls, please figure out how you can do it. If you have used your browser, try to shift to the app. If you're using mobile phones, try to find where it is in your mobile phones. It's very important for you to answer all these polls. Okay. Okay, I've kept all the polls open for you to answer whenever you are able to figure out how the polls will work. With this, I would like to stop my screen and introduce our next speaker, the first speaker for today. And I'll be there in the background to help you out if you have any other questions which is not covered. So there is a question answer button in your chat. You should be able to see. If not, I'll figure out. I'll do it once the meeting starts. I mean, once the presentation starts. So enable Q&A, I've already done it. So you should be able to see the question and answer button on the. So I'll create a post in question and answer so that you should be able to see that. So please note, please put all your polls in the poll, not on the chat, because it's really tough to consolidate the chat and get your details. Okay. With this, Praphulla, are you ready? Let me introduce Praphulla, Dr. Praphulla, who is our first speaker. Dr. Praphulla has 13 years of working experience in Department of Biotechnology, BMS College of Engineering. She is a graduate. She did her PhD from Department of Chemical Engineering, Indian Institute of Technology, Madras, on the topic low temperature vanadium redox flow batteries. And her MTech was from NIT Surathkal, and her B is from MS Ramaya Institute of Technology, Bangalore. Her research interest is in the domain of renewable energy and waste management. She has published more than 15 journals in different very reputed journals. So with this, I leave the floor to Praphulla. Thanks a lot, Praphulla, for agreeing to talk to us. Please go ahead and share the screen, and the stage is yours. And for participants, I'll create a discussion topic I'll create a post so that you can start your discussion on today's questions. If any, please post it on the chat. I'm sorry, Q&A. We will be able to take at the end of the session. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you, Abhishek, for a brief introduction about me. Am I audible?
Yeah, Praphulla, please go ahead. Please
yeah.
go ahead.
Thank you so much for a brief introduction. A warm welcome to all the participants. It's very glad to know that the participants are from the different parts of country, and many of them are from Bangalore. The poll really helped us to know the background of the participants, like most of them are faculty members. Glad to know that. We all know that research is a part of academics now. So today I'm going to talk on the anatomy of scientific manuscript and response to reviewers' questions. So coming to the outline of presentation, here we can see, even though we are not addressing how to do research, all those things, and we already know the importance of research, just I will, some of the key points I'll discuss here, why the research is important. And next, why publishing the research work is very important in the scientific world. So what are the various platforms in which you can publish your research work? Once you submit your research paper, what happens to that? What process it undergoes? That is addressed through editorial process. Next, how to write a research article. There is a specific format for that, that is called IMRAD format. Next, after discussing on this format, then I will discuss on the response to reviewers' comments. Finally, I will keep a demo on the submission process. So, importance of scientific research. So most of us know what is the importance of scientific research. So first one, I am taking like a discovery of new things. So here we can see the innovative research work will lead to the economic development. If you say like 2-3 decades back, the lithium ion battery is discovered. So what happens now, we can see how it is tremendously covered all the area of energy sector, and then it is used everywhere in the laptops, mobile phones, and then electric vehicles also. So how that research, like lot of work has been done down the line in so many 20 years, and then we come up with the electric vehicle which is performing really well. So that is what innovation is first keyword. Next one, if we do the research, then we can rule out the opinions and intuitions which we have without any evidences. Like if we do the experimentation, and then if we see that, we will see the results, and then we'll understand that. So whatever the opinion earlier I had, that may not be right, may not be right. Or if you have taken thought of some through the intuition, if you had some analysis, that may be wrong. Or if other scientists, whoever are your peers or somebody, had given some opinions, that opinion, whether it is correct or not, you can ensure through the experimentation or some kind of a research work. So it basically rules out the opinion about the research. So next is definitely economic growth. Just now I took the example of electrical vehicle. So if we see lithium ion is like it's ruling the market. So if every country is growing, the electric vehicles are like supplied everywhere. There is a tremendous great market to the electric vehicles. So all those things we can see. Apart from that, if I take one more point is the environmental protection. If I take again EV, So we know that it is we are moving from the conventional fuels to the fuel-based vehicles to the electrical vehicle. Because of that, there is environmental protection. That is one example. If I'm giving one more example, so we can say that the production of bioethanol or biodiesel, production of bioethanol or biodiesel. So the sugar industry has produces the waste called biogas. So that is just burnt, incinerated. Rather than that, it has some sugar content or carbohydrate content. So that can be processed to synthesize or produce the bioethanol. And these bioethanol are blended to the vehicles. Bioethanol is blended to petrol, and then it is used by the vehicles. So many we can see the Karnataka government is promoting that, and the local our BMTC buses are using this what you say biodiesel along with the diesel. So we can see these are the major points on for which we need to do the scientific research. Invariably, we can say that the research helps to achieve this sustainable development goals. Now, if I take a point number 4, quality education. If we have established some kind of a teaching methodology that helps the students to learn the concept better, then uh, we need to publish that so that others also can use that, and then again the students get benefited out of this technology. So even in education sector, we need to publish our work so that it is beneficial for all the students. So again, coming to the well-being health, so we have seen the COVID-19. So the tremendous research work is done to tackle this COVID-19, and we can see after 3 years or 3 years, now it is almost eradicated. So why we need to publish the work? So first point is growth of research. So what I meant here is, if we publish our work, the other researchers can read it and then analyze it. And if their domain is same, then they can do further work on that area and then publish the research. So we need to publish our research so that other researchers can see that, and then they can work, and then the number of publications in that particular domain, it increases. So because of that, that kind of a work can be taken by industry and come up with some product, and it can help the society by giving some useful product. We are, most of us are faculty over here, so we know it is very essential for the career advancement. So publication is invariably is coming to the part and parcel of our academic life. So we need to do quality research and then publish in reputed journals for the career advancement, for promotions, not only in academic sector, it'll help in government sector as well as even in the industries. If you come up with some kind of a new findings, definitely that will give you promotion or career advancement. Third point I'm taking here is research funding. So when we are applying the proposal for research funding, then whoever evaluating our research funding proposal, they see what is our expertise. So if we have published in the same domain more number of research publications, then definitely our proposal will have weightage, and then it is we might get the funding. So that is one more criteria. Validation of research. So when we publish, when we submit the article, so it will go to the reviewers. So what happens? Reviewer analyze your paper and check whether it is right or wrong, and give certain comments. So because of that, we get to know that whether our research is correct or not. If it is correct, it gets published, and then some kind of a validation we get out of it. And more and more publications in the particular domain, if you do, we will become the expertise in that area. So next, where to publish the research work? So here I've given the different platforms to publish the research work. So here some of them I've marked with the red line. So that is because these kind of techniques like short communications, books or books chapters or journal articles or review articles, even conference presentations will go through some kind of a review. But in other places, if you are going to publish research, there may not be any critical review. So, but there is a chance of publishing some work in the other platforms also. When we do the research, we refer so many, videos to understand the experimentation or the new research, how the new type of research is done. All those things we see through videos and we learn. Videos are actually very easy, but whatever the videos which are put in YouTube, they're not really reviewed. Some documentaries about the documentaries will be put up in the government sites or something regarding, now example, if it is like scientific agriculture farming. So if you're working on towards that area, so that we will come to know what is the present state of the scientific agriculture, all those things we'll come to know. So if we refer the documentaries, we'll come to know. So there are other types, again, newspapers. There will be a section of science and technology. In that, various professors and scientists and even industrialists put their breakthrough study in the newspapers. Even websites, industry websites will keep publishing their breakthrough research and then recent advances, all those things in their website. We can refer that to just to know the development in that area. Now coming to these type of articles, whatever I've marked in the red line, that is short communications. So one type is short communications. So this will have some 4 to 6 pages of, this is a 4 to 6 pages of article. Here we just publish a small amount of work, maybe some kind of a methodology we have modified. That modification can be put into this kind of a journal article. So next is books. Books we all know. So we refer a lot of books and book chapters. So some editor or publisher will decide to come up with the books, so that he will ask the expertise people to write the chapters on the relevant field. Now let's say nanotechnology in wastewater treatment. So if it is a nanotechnology in wastewater treatment is some kind of a book, then what are the ways like the editor will divide, some editor or publisher, whoever is in charge of that book, he will divide the chapters, different chapters, and he will ask the expertise people to write the chapter on that, and then that gets published. So journal articles and reviews. Coming to, first I'll address the reviews. Reviews are elaborate analysis of literature. So it's kind of a perspective, not a research article. So in the reviews, so again, so it will be written on particular topic. So that topic will be divided into subsections, and in each subsection we will refer many articles and we analyze the research articles and come to one conclusion, and then we write some points related to that subtopic. Let's say now wastewater treatment is like a review on wastewater treatment. Then if I take, so there are different techniques to do the wastewater treatment. It may be a chemical treatment, that may be one chapter. It may be a biological treatment, that may be another chapter. So what are the breakthrough studies done by other researchers in chemical treatment of wastewater? That will be studied, read completely, and then analyze that paper and write the points related to that. If it is a biological wastewater treatment, what kind of microorganisms are used, how they are effective, all those things are written, but it is not done by any of the research is not done by any of the author here. So many authors will be there for review articles, and it will go for more than 30 pages, the review articles. And then if you see the reference in the review article, that will be more than some 100, or sometimes it goes to 200 also. So many articles will be referred by many number of authors and then review will be written. It is not that one person cannot write the review article, but generally whatever we are seeing in the platform of publishing the research, on that basis I'm telling review articles will be generally written by many of the authors. Coming to the journal articles, here journal articles and research articles are like we will do some kind of a study and then about that we will write in that article. So it has certain particular format. That format I am going to discuss. Coming to conference presentations, we can present in the conference either oral presentations or poster presentations. The norms will be told by the organizers of conference, and then again in the conference also there will be some 2-3 evaluators. They evaluate our work and then give certain suggestions. In the poster, even the poster will be in a prescribed format, and then the suggestions will be given to the posters. So some kind of a review happens in all these articles. So that's why I just highlighted in a different manner. So now next question is when to publish the research, right? At what stage of my research I should publish the article. I should try to publish the article. Let's say now these are the steps of research. I'm just addressing the steps of research, but not going into very detail because it's out of scope here. So what we do, we based on our expertise. Now, let's say I'm a chemical engineer and then I'm working in biotechnology. I have some interest towards biotechnology. And then what is possible from me to do work in the research work? So that kind of a problem I'll identify. So I can work on some wastewater treatment because it uses biotechnology as well as my chemical engineering knowledge. So in that area, I find out unique and less explored research problem. After finding out the less explored research problem, next I do the thorough literature survey to find the research gap. So when we are doing the literature survey, we have to check the up-to-date research. So it is very important. Now, when you start working, if you find that after going to the publication stage, if you find that work is already done, then it's really it goes as like it's a simple effort which is not giving you any kind of a any kind of benefit. So that's why it's really required to do the up-to-date research and literature review and then find the research gap. Once you identify the research gap, then you will have some kind of experimental design. If it is a modeling study, some kind of modeling study plan so that to address the research gap. Once we do the experimentation, we get a lot of results which is relevant to the experimentation, and then we analyze the results. After analysis of results, we check whether this research, whatever the result we got, is it going to address the research gap or not? If it is addressing the research gap, whatever you have identified, then it is useful for publishing. So in that stage, you write the manuscript. Right? Manuscript can be written like there is a particular format for research manuscript. You can write that manuscript in that particular format, and then next go for identification of suitable journal. So identification of suitable journal and what is credential of that journal or quality of the journal, all these things are addressed by my other colleagues, maybe down the line in 2-3 days, means tomorrow or day after tomorrow, so that you can see here. Once you identify all these things, then you can publish the research. So after writing the manuscript, after submitting the manuscript, what happens to your manuscript? It goes through the series of steps. So first one, if you see, author submits the article. So he submits the article to the editor through the journal platform. At this point, article will be assessed by editor or editorial office. So what editor will check? The scope and objective of the your paper, like whether this scope or objective of the paper is matching the journal objective or not. So those things will be checked by the editor, and an editorial office will check for plagiarism. Plagiarism is nothing but we are going to find out the originality of the work. So when plagiarism can be determined from variety of tools, various tools. So what happens if the article is plagiarized? It is most of the content is copied from other articles. Then it is it is rejected. Then editorial office will search for the key components of the papers. There are many key components of the paper like abstract, keywords, highlights, sometimes graphical abstract. It is not compulsory, but it is optional. Introduction, methodology, and results, discussions, conclusions, and references. All these things are put in correct order, and whether the your results are put in graphs and tables, are these things are proper or not, that will be checked by editorial office as well as editor, and they take the decision. If any of the things are not proper, then they have every right to reject the paper. Let's say everything is correct, then it goes to the reviewers. Generally, the editor will assign 3 reviewers, so that if one reviewer gives yes and one reviewer gives no, then based on the third reviewer's decision, we can take the decision like that. So when it goes to the reviewers, we can give the name of the reviewers. We can suggest the name of the reviewers while submitting the articles. So they might choose the same reviewers, and they have every right to change the reviewer also. So once the reviewer sees the paper, he will assess the paper based on problem statement, methodology, the way you have written results and discussion, consistency of the results, conclusion. So he checks the methodology. Is the methodology whatever you are adopted is obsolete, or it is technically wrong? It may be, and results and discussions are not discussed, and results are not discussed properly, and you're stating something at the top, and then you're stating something else in the another section of the paper, and conclusions are not meeting the problem statement. All these things the reviewer will check, and he gives certain comments. So that certain comments will come to the editor. Once the editor sees the comments, he sends that comments to the author back. So asking the revisions. There are 2 types of revision, major revision and minor revision. Major revision means you need to do some kind of a work or major changes in your paper. Minor revision, maybe your graph is not correct, you have to edit it and then resubmit it. So let's say you got some kind of a review, and then you have to address those reviews and then send it back to the editor. Once you submit the reviews, again, it may go to reviewer, or reviewer might say that I don't need to see the reviews again. So you editor can only take the decision. So that depends on the editor and the reviewer. So based on the reviews, the paper will be rejected or selected. Once the paper is selected, then it goes to the production. In that they will modify the paper to the journal format and then send it for proofreading. Once you proofread it, then it goes to the publication. Now, some of the journals are free, some of the journals ask for publication charges. So that depends on the type of the journal. So most of the open access journals, if you see, they ask for publication charges to maintain the open access. So in that case, before submitting only, they ask you have to pay this much, and then all those confirmation they do. Sometimes there will be, you need to check, there will be some offers for research scholars, partial funding, or waiving of the publication charges. If your guide or if your co-author is a reviewer of that particular journal, then there may be a chance of waiving of the publication charges or partial discount on the publication charges. Some of the institutes, some of the well-known institutes, they will tie up with the that journal. So what happens? You can directly publish without giving any kind of a publication charges. Some some of the journals, even though they are asking for publication charges, they'll be good. So not necessary that we have to just go for free journals, but we have to check the quality. Those things will be addressed tomorrow. So after this editorial and review process, so I'm briefly discussing the acceptance criteria of the article. So what are the acceptance criteria of the article? With some points I'm discussing here. So first one, as I said, relevance of the paper, relevance of your manuscript to the journal. Now let's say I worked on energy sector and then I put the paper in wastewater treatment side or waste management side of the journal. Maybe I worked on waste management, like let's say incineration of biomass and generating some kind of energy, all those things. You might feel that it has some kind of a relevance to the journal, but editor may not necessary that he may feel that there is a relevance. So you may reject, saying that it is not meeting our objectives. Coming to the next point, significance. So whether your work is significantly contributing to the research area, that will be checked by editor or reviewer. If they feel that there is a significant amount of contribution to the journal, so then definitely they'll accept it. If it is not, they will straight away reject it. So coming to the next one, novelty. Like if your work is redundant and repeatedly done by many of the other researchers, definitely that will be rejected. So coming to the technical correctness. So as I said, when your experimentation, they might feel that your experimentation might be wrong, or the way you, show the results, or let's say, if you heat the iron rod, definitely the temperature increases. If you would have done something right while writing, if you would have done some mistake or something, they might tell during the review, or they might feel that, okay, there is some major mistake over here, so we just reject it. So next one is experimental and evidence support. So when whatever the research gap identified by you, that should be supported by your experimental work or whatever the research work you're doing. So that clearly it should be supported by the evidences. Just you cannot make a statement saying that this and this is proved or something like that. They won't accept it. You have to show the evidences through the results and discussions. Then clarity in presentation, definitely in any of the part of the journal, if the presentation is not clear or it is not in a sequential manner, definitely it will get rejected. So one more point, references. If you have taken very old references or irrelevant references, they will check all those things and then they reject. So next one is journal articles in IMRAD format. So are you all in with my presentation? Can I get a feedback? Can anyone talk, because I am just seeing the screen?
Yes, madam. We are all able to listen.
Thank you. So coming to the format, this is called, for the research article, it is called as IMRAD format. So IMRAD format means introduction, methodology, results and discussion. So any journal will have all these components. So first, any journal will have title, author, abstract and keywords. So these are the key components of the journal article. It gives the descriptive information that lets the reader to search the paper. Okay, introduction. So what is the context of the project, and then how does it will fit in with the research on the topic? What is the research question? Like why you're doing this research work? That has to be discussed in the introduction section. Next is methods. So methods, what did the author do to answer that research question? Now, so here in the introduction section, you would have had some kind of a problem statement. Now, through the methods, have you addressed those research questions? How you have done? How you have addressed the research question? Next, what are the outcomes of your research? Then, if you got this research, then for what? How it will help to further how it will help to the scientific community? What is the significance of your project? How does it fit with what else is known about the topic? So you know about, so by the literature, you know, like you know in and around about the topic, and then how your work is contributing towards that area in a significant way. That is discussed in the discussion and conclusion. References, definitely we have to put the references in order, and whatever the paper we referred, we need to cite it accordingly. So next, coming to the author details. So if you see the journal, journal article or a research article, you see many number of authors. So for one author, there'll be a 1 star. Okay, so that person is a corresponding author. So he communicates to the, journal. He communicates with the editor. So first author, second author, third author, as on, many number of authors will contribute to the paper in a different way. So generally we say that first author is contributes the most, or he's written the paper, compiled every result, everything like that. Second author and third author also contributed to the paper in a different manner, but significantly. That is very important here. So this is my paper. Here, if I say that this is my PhD paper. So Professor Srinivas Jayanti is my guide, and Professor communicated the paper to the journal. So star is here. So I have contributed, I have done the work, and I have compiled the entire results and analyzed and wrote the paper. So there is a significant contribution of work in this area, and one of my senior helped with some methodologies, and then some intellectually, not just giving the items or something like that. If you have used someone's resources, like a laptop or a small instrument, and just to carry out your research, you need not put the name. So if they have intellectually, generally we say that if they intellectually contributed to the topic, then only we need to put the author name. Otherwise, it is not really required. So I will just explain it further. So if you see here, so this we declared in the paper who did what. So Praphulla Rao is done conceptualization, methodology, investigation, visualization, writing the original draft. Ravindra Gundlapalli, he helped in methodology, data curation, writing, reviewing, and editing. Srinivas Jayanti sir supervised the entire work. He supported with the funds which he got from the government, and the writing, reviewing, editing. So this way we need to declare the contribution by every author. Now one more way we can write the author details, in that we have to incorporate ORCID number. What is the ORCID number? So this is a unique kind of identification number. This is linked to Web of Science and Scopus Index journals. So when we publish the paper, what happens? The reviewers or editors go through your ORCID ID, and he gets the complete detail about your publications, your fundings, from that ORCID ID. If you have an ORCID ID, then it's essential to update your profile in that, or automatically, if it is the paper is published in Web of Science or Scopus Index journal or other reputed journals, then automatically it will reflect in the ORCID ID if you link the paper with the ORCID number. So this is trending now, and regarding this, other speakers will talk tomorrow or day after tomorrow. So we see some kind of authorship abuse nowadays or previously also. So what are the different types of authorship abuse? So gift, authorship is not earned. So we say that I just put my relative's name. So because he helped me in tough times. So he is a professor in another college. So I've added his name. So that is really not correct. Let's say that professor is what you say, his background is very different. And when the other researchers read my paper, they realize that this person cannot contribute to this kind of work, then it will be like there will be what you say, bad remark on first author. So that, or communicating author. So that's why we should not have this kind of practice of simply adding someone known to us to the authorship. And then next one is guest authorship. So here what happened? Authorship not earned or partially earned. So you call the person, if you see here, so you call you just add that person's name so that your paper gets published. So like he is having too many good credentials in that area. If you put his name, then definitely paper gets accepted. So that kind of approach is also again not good. One more type of very important type of authorship abuse is ghost authorship. So here the authorship may be earned but not named. So you give some money to some other person like who is expertise in this area and he knows some content. You give entire your research details and then your results and all. He will completely write the paper for you in a required format, and then you don't add his name, just you add your own name there. Analysis, discussions, everything is written by that author. You may be funding that author with some money, or just like that you are taking help of that author. So that's why we tell them as ghost authors, because they are not seen. They have really worked behind the manuscript. So these kind of practices we need to really avoid. So coming to the first part of the IMRDA, before IMRDA format, like in the journal, we have to write abstract, title, keywords, highlights, all these parameters, all these components. So the title should be very precise. So why title should be precise? Because if you, it's like moreover, entire work, whatever you've done, it should be in one line, or I mean, one statement. So you have to try to cover the important methodology you have taken or important component you have taken. If let's say like wastewater treatment, you worked on used nanoparticles for the wastewater treatment, let's say, then what happens? You have used specifically iron nanoparticles uh, for the wastewater treatment. So you have to specify application of investigation of usage of application of iron nanoparticles to the treatment of particular wastewater. Here you have to specify the wastewater. You cannot just say wastewater, some wastewater. It may be a brewery wastewater, it may be a textile wastewater. You have to specify correctly the title. Then keywords. Keywords are very important. As I said, if it is a nanoparticle particles application on wastewater treatment, if it is iron nanoparticles, better to write iron nanoparticles. If it is a brewery wastewater, better to write keywords as brewery wastewater. So it goes very specific, and some of the general what you say keywords you can put so as to get more and more citations. Now, when the author, when the reader puts some keywords like this, whatever relevant to that your paper, he finds the article in the Google and then he try to read it. And if he try to read it, he feels it interesting and it is helpful for his research, definitely he will cite it. So keywords are very important to get the citations. Proper keywords are very important to get the citations. Abstract, it is around 200 to 300 words. So it gives in this 200, 300 words, you have to give the complete gist of your project or your manuscript. So you have to give a proper problem statement. What are the research conducted? What technique you have used to address that problem statement? What are the important results, their discussion, and then their application. So what are highlights? So now you write this abstract in a point manner, not too many numbers, maybe some 4 points. If you write the abstract in what you say in the points, then it is highlights. Next is abstract should be written in present tense. Graphical, some of the journals ask for graphical abstract. So what is the benefit of graphical abstract is it gives a visual representation. We all know visual representation is always good to learn the concept better. So it is mostly in most of the journals, it's optional. We need not give the graphical abstract, but if you give it, then it will highlight your research. So one small example for graphical abstract, if you see this example, you can see here there is a lithium ion battery, how it is processed, recycled. So it is shredded and then leaching is done to remove the impurities, and then we will adjust the ratio of here NMC means nickel, manganese, cobalt, and then some technique is used, and then sintering is done and recycled. So this is about the graphical abstract. So it gives we understood the topic within 1 minute. If we have to read abstract, it will take some 2 to 3 minutes, and then it's difficult to understand also. So this representation will give weightage to your paper. So coming to the next part of the topic, here I am just giving a quick recap with an example here. So about all these things which I discussed now. So here, this is my paper, which is published in Journal of Power Sources, one of the reputed journal. So here, my work is on vanadium redox flow batteries. That is one kind of a rechargeable battery. So we know that it is like a lithium ion battery, but it is used for stationary application. So we know that any kind of a battery does not perform at low temperature. So what vanadium electrolyte does not get frozen at low temperature. So that is advantage of this research. So that's why I have conducted this research. So here what I have done is given in this title. So I have found out the influence of electrode design parameters on the performance of vanadium redox flow batteries at low temperatures. Authors, myself and my professor. So this work I published when I was in IIT Madras doing my PhD. So that's why I put credential of IIT Madras. That is college is sponsored me for under QIP for PhD. So during that time I published my work. So here we can see the Department of Chemical Engineering and DST Solar Energy Harnessing Center, IIT Madras I put. So this is the center which is this is a center which is established after getting the government fund. So that's why, and we have procured some of the instruments and equipments through this fund. So it is essential to put the name of this center also. Now, if you see the highlights here, so next comes the highlights. Here you can see experimental studies have been conducted in the flow battery cell at particular area. I am specifying at this area. All the work will be done in the small area. So it will give some kind of a highlight to me. Highlight to my work. So like, oh, this size, 426 centimeters square. It is a very large size. So maybe something interesting inside. So influence of electrode design parameters have been studied at particular temperatures. So that specification I have given. Then I discussed in one line about result, that is 50% or less discharge capacity at -10 degrees Celsius. So I told them that I've explained the reader that 50% is there is a 50% reduction in the capacity of battery. And then next, what is the reason for the reduction in the capacity, and what can be done to solve this problem. So all these things are the finding of my research in particular topics. So this is about my abstract, and here you can see keywords. First, definitely vanadium redox flow battery. Low temperature, I have to specify that because this is an exclusive work on low temperature. Whoever doing the work on low temperature definitely take up this paper. And then polarization. So this is a one important technique which is used in electrochemistry. So I need to highlight this. Battery parameter, one is energy efficiency. One technique, special technique I've used to analyze the performance of battery. So that is impedance. And then electrode design. So these are the keywords I have uh, used. So this paper was published some 2 years back, and I got good number of citations also. So next, coming to the IMRD format, and then it is first one is introduction part of research paper. So in the few lines of introduction, only we have to grab attention of reader, giving a proper problem statement or powerful statement which is addressing the worth. So now let's say global energy demand is increasing year by year. So if you have done that kind of a statement, you can support with the some certain facts or statistics or surveys. Like if you go to the International Energy Agency, they will say this much percentage of energy consumption is increased worldwide. So that statement you can put so that your first statement is supported. Next part of the work, introduction is literature review. So this is a very important step. So here, if you have a research problem, so whatever the subtopics of that research problem, what are the different kind of work done on that subtopics? All those things you have to identify, and then you have to write a neat research, literature review. So here you have to name the researcher, previous researcher who did this work, and then analyze the work, analyze his work, and then write some points on that. His results, all those things we have to disclose. Now, if I say vanadium redox flow battery, so why I have taken the vanadium redox flow battery, then I say that for the stationary application, it is a very useful. We cannot go with the lithium ion batteries for that kind of application. Who invented this vanadium redox flow batteries? And batteries, when we say there are different components of the batteries like electrode, electrolyte, membrane, what are the different kind of work done to improve the performance of battery in these domains? All those things I address, and then I will address in the literature review. Recent literature review I will read and then write the analysis. So after doing the literature review, I will write about the research gap, whatever I have identified, some points on the research gap. So that is like your problem statement. So we find that in the literature, this work is not done, and it is very essential to improve the performance of the battery. Or in my case, at low temperature, there were no studies in a large scale. So that I took as a research gap, and then I've done the study in that area. So my hypothesis is low temperature performance or on low temperature performance of vanadium redox flow batteries, some key findings out of it. So once you identify the research gap and write some statement about that, then you go to, you will describe your work in one paragraph. So we will describe our work in one paragraph. Now, when the reader reads the paper, generally what they see is they see the abstract. Then after that they directly they will just read some statements of the introduction, and then they go to the last paragraph of the introduction. Last paragraph of the introduction generally gives the work done by the researcher. Okay, so that's why you should write a proper description of your work in the last statement of your introduction part. So this way we need to write the introduction part. Next is so literature review is very important in the introduction part. So what we need to do, we have to we have to use these tips to write the very good literature review. So we need to select relevant and up-to-date research articles. Why up-to-date? I've already discussed. If you take maybe like 1 year old research paper or 2 year old research paper, and then you completely write your paper, and then and after seeing that, if you realize that this kind of a work is done 6 months back, then whatever the effort is you put is all going to be waste. And it should be relevant paper, because so that you can relate your work, and then you can identify the suitable research gap. If you go wrong in any of the steps, then it will be like again and again job, and then it will be a problem. So we should never copy the passages from other journal articles. So it will give us a plagiarism issue. So what happens? We see the abstract, and then we take some points directly and then put it. This researcher, like Rao et al., worked on this, like that directly you take from the other journal, definitely that will become a problem for originality. So you should never copy the passages from other journal articles. We need to clearly analyze the work done by others rather than copying the passages. And then clearly we have to analyze, means we have to see the results, abstract, conclusion, everything we have to see, and then write the statement in our own words. There should be some kind of a logical arrangement of the paragraph. Now I said vanadium redox flow battery is invented by Mariam. So that if I put in the last paragraph before writing the description of my work, that is like kind of what you say, it is not in the sequence. So first we should write who invented that or something like that. It's not the exact example for that. So, but it should be in the logical arrangement of the paragraph so that it goes like a storyline. So next, we should keep in mind the formatting guidelines. Here I meant to say, like if it is like 3-4 authors have worked on that topic, then you will write Rao et al. Like that, and then year or something, and then you will write the comments or analysis. Next, if it is 2 authors, Rao and Ghosh published, worked on this. If it is only one person, Rao, like that. So all these things you will just write in the literature review. So all these things should be taken care at the beginning, so that you get less and less comments in the review. Next, coming to the important part of the IMRD format, that is methodology section. So here we describe about our experimental work or modeling work or software development. Many other kind of research works are there. The research work is there. So we have to give the complete detail about those work in the methodology. So if it is like engineering education journal, you have worked on some kind of a improvement work methodology, which is to improve the concept learning from the students, then you have to, what are the tools you have used for that? What kind of a work you've done? Like those things has to be explained clearly. What kind of a surveys you've taken, what kind of a questions you've done, what kind of methodology you adopted, everything has to be discussed. Now I've just segregated like a 3 kind of work. That is, one is experimental work. This is very common. So here we have to give the specification of materials. If you have got some electrode material, then from where you bought it, and what are the specification, what is the thickness of that material, all those things you have to give. Equipments, like from where you purchase the equipment, the make, so the company name, that has to be there, so that the other researcher who is going to do the similar kind of work can buy that equipment. Then instruments used. Instruments, when we say, again, make specifications and their range, all these things comes into picture. So this has to be specified in the materials and methods or methodology section. Coming to the experimental design, so we have to explain the experimental work in a sequential manner. So very neatly, by specifying all the conditions which are relevant to the experimental work. Now let's say some kind of a pre-treatment has to be done for some process. So that pre-treatment has to be explained at the beginning. Then we have to go to the process. Then if any kind of post-treatment is there, that we have to explain. So we have to specify, if it is an experimental work, then we need to specify that it is done in triplicates, all those things. It will add value to the paper. Then when we do some kind of experimental work, definitely we will analyze the results. We do use some characterization techniques. It is really excuse me. Any
Yeah,
question?
maybe another 10-15 minutes. Can you wind up?
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Okay.
Yeah, because we have some questions coming up.
Okay, okay. Okay, fine. Yeah, I'll be a little more quick. So characterization part, we have to explain. Next, coming to the modeling work, modeling type of work, here you have to say the tools and the data used. Maybe you have referred the data from other literature. You have to specify that what are the designs of, what is the design of model, relevant equations in a sequential manner you have to put. Then its advantages if you put the flow chart, and then what kind of analysis you have done. It may be analytical or numerical. These specifications has to be given in the modeling work. Software development, again, we have to platforms used, codes, everything we have to give in the paper. And then once you develop the software and you're validating the software through certain testing process, all this testing process, all these things has to be discussed. So there's some key points here. Complete methodology has to be written. We need to specify the work in we need to write the work in a sequential manner. If you have taken others' research, then definitely we have to give the citation. It is not, even if I have repeated the work, it is not mine. We have to give the citation. So we have to support our work with figures and flowcharts. We have to write clearly the description about the experiment so that the other readers can understand and reproduce the work. Generally, we need to write in past tense because it's already done. We should not discuss any results at this in this section. Okay, so quick examples on experimental work. Again, this is my paper here. So we can see I've said that single cell VRFB is fabricated using this electrode. This is bought from Sigra cell, and area of the electrode is specified, and membrane type is specified. The current collector type is specified. Dimensions of the flow field is specified, and the procedures what I followed, all these things are explained in a paper. And then I have referred, see here you can see some 26, 27, that papers I have referred for certain methodology or characterization. So that is mentioned over here. Now I have supported my work with the, figure. So if you see this figure, see how I've kept the cell inside the chamber and how the electrolyte flows, and then how the testing instrument is connected, because it's a cold chamber. So that has some kind of opening through which I am taken the cable to analyze my results, and then need the title for the figure. All these things is done neatly explained in this experimental work. Now modeling work, it is a flow chart come the diagram of the VRFB. Here you see the equations. They need to put it in a particular format, and then if you see here the conditions for the analysis, the model, everything is given. So when we say modeling work, definitely we need to give the nomenclature, so that if you're reading here what is FT, from where I have to take, you will not get to know all the parameters. It will be either given at the beginning or the last of the paper in case of modeling work. So these are the suitable examples for the experimental and modeling work. So next, coming to the results section. So results, generally we put it in a figure or a tabular form. So describe, here we have to describe the finding of data analysis. Results, results you can collect for some 50 days or 60 days or a year, but we can't put 1 year data in any kind of a graph. So that is not really possible. But we can put, if you have done 60 days work, then you can write, you can give the results like 5th day result and the 10th day's results. Like that, you can put a graph so that the graph will be neat. So we have to take care of data analysis. This is very important here. So we have to describe the finding of data analysis. So we should not write interpretation here. That goes in a discussion section. We should never present a raw data. That becomes very haphazard and readers cannot understand that. organize the tables and graphs, which should be organized correctly so that the reader will understand. Like you have stated some objectives. So according to that, we can organize the tables and graphs. Based on your experimentation, that same sequence you can follow to show the results. And it's essential to high resolution of graphs and tables should be written in past tense, and we have to give the complete details conditions in the figures and tables. So if you see here, so this is one type of figure. So here I have given the complete, if you see the title here, figure title I have given in the, so if you see the figure title here, so you can see that the complete details about the experiment I have given. So axis titles are given, and then legends are given. Clear, there should be clarity in legend. So sometimes what happens, you're putting this graph in Excel or something. Sometimes the legends get jumbled. So you should be careful enough to see that everything is presented is correct. Now, the model studies are given in a line, and then experimental studies given in the dotted line, and for these three different temperatures, three colors are used. So from this graph only we can understand the work. So that way we should give, because the readers won't have patience to read entire paper. They go to the figure or tables. Now if you see this graph, we cannot understand anything from this. So this kind of a graph should be avoided, even though it is direct data from the instrument. So here legends are given, but sorry, not titles are given, but legends are not given. So if you see here, so we can't understand anything from this graph. So this kind of a habit, maybe it should be avoided. It may be due to kind of what you say, overviewing the paper or something, or like if you ask your friends to check the paper, then they will identify this kind of mistakes. Again, coming to the tables here, this is the main first one. One second, there is some kind of a problem I'm encountering.
You are audible only. Presentation
I'm
is off.
audible. Okay. So maybe some problem happened. So
Yeah, we can see your presentation.
Yeah.
So you got less than 5 minutes, so you may really hurry up.
Okay. So again, here you should be very precisely mention the table titles and complete details you have to give properly. So I think I skip all these things. This is like example for research section. Here, if you see, like here only the results are put, and about the methodology, I mean how the results are classified, all these things are discussed here. So coming to the discussion section, so here we need to provide the necessary interpretation based on the important findings. So what we have to interpret the results and then important findings in the discussion section. So we can compare others' literature and then come up with the findings. We have to highlight the strength and limitation of our work. It is not always right to only only to say the strength, not the limitation. Summarize the hypothesis, and then discuss the application of study. So discussion is the one which is looked by many readers. So we should be very precise here, and then we have to describe the results, and then these are these findings. So we should not repeat the results here. Again, refer the table one, refer the figure one, all these things we should not tell. So we have to compile everything and then write the interpretation. So we should not claim the results based on opinions without evidences. Do not forget to add the citations. If you're comparing something, then you should not forget to add the citations. Again, this is one example for discussion. So differences between the results and discussion. What are the findings from experiments? How are they useful? No interpretation in the case of results, but interpretation should be in the discussion section. Results, we don't give any citations, but here if you are referring others articles, we have to give the citation. So the last one, results definitely past tense, but discussions may be past tense or present tense. So coming to the last part of the segment, that is conclusion section of IMRD format. So here, when we have to conclude at the last, after writing the complete paper, what we have to write in the conclusion, summary of our work, and then key findings, problem statement. How we have to write, restate your topic, restate your thesis statement, summarize and draw significance of major points and discuss the future scope. So these are all things we need to write in the conclusion, and why it will help other readers so as to carry out their work, and then how significantly it contributes to the scientific community. That you have to say in the conclusion section. So this again, it's the same thing in the other part. So other details required, if you have taken funding from some agency, you have to show that. Then credit authorship contribution statement, who did what, which author did what kind of a work, that you have to state here. And declaration of competing interest. So detailing will be taken by others. So we have not, we have to declare, if you have taken any competing interest, we have to state it. Moreover, it won't be any kind, we won't take any, this we will say mostly no. So like the author declares that they don't have competing financial interest on these things. So acknowledgement, so you have to specifically acknowledge the funding agency, and in this case I've said that I've acknowledged my college for sponsoring me for PhD. So that is kind of acknowledgement statement. Here I only acknowledge my college, so my guide won't acknowledge. So I specifically told my name over here. Now, data availability statement, if you have plenty of data, if you can give in a supporting document, that you can write in this case. So reference format, there'll be some prescribed format in the journal that only has to be followed. So there are different tools available to put the reference format. Like you cannot put a random reference format like this here, the journal name in one way, another way, again here it is in another way. And then in some cases DOI is there, some cases DOI is not there. We cannot do such mistakes. We should be very careful in these aspects, because that gives a bad remark on to the reviewers. Okay, proofreading is required. It's always required to proofread the journal article before submitting. So all these points. So submission process, you need to write a covering letter. You need to show, you have to declare the conflict of interest, and then you have to write the manuscript. Manuscript can be written in our own wish and then neatly, but sometimes some journals ask for a particular format. They ask for figures and tables in a separate document. When you're writing covering letter only, you can tell about the novelty, all those things. That's up to you. Or else you can say you're submitting the research article to this particular journal, to that editor, convey the proper message during the submission of the process. Okay, I will quickly cover this. This is a very important portion of my talk, that is rebuttal or response to the reviewers and editors. So we should be very careful during addressing the reviewers' questions. Okay, so even though if you are agreeing or not agreeing, we should be kind of like submissive and not really jump onto certain conclusions or something like that. Should be very clear. So it's better always, if I say like first comment, if you see, we thank the reviewer for pointing out these errors. If they found errors, then we have to tell them that it's thank you, and then we apologize, and then we will correct it. Like that you have to state. You cannot say that thanks for wonderful observation. The other reviewer said exactly same, and then see our response to reviewer too. We cannot, this is a very blunt way of responding, and this is not at all correct. So again, you're not agreeing on the comment. If you're not agreeing on the comment, but still you cannot, I am not going to agree on this comment. You cannot state like that. So you have to beat around the bush, and then you have to clearly explain the phenomena, and so as to make him understand again, although the analysis in page number seems to be repeated, this is required to say something like that. So it's relevant here to get that what is a part, so that it will add to certain point, all those things. You cannot say you clearly didn't see the text properly. Page 10 is about different sub analysis, so it's not repeated. So like this, you cannot reply. This becomes very, it gives a bad impression. Definitely the paper gets rejected. So these are some examples. So reviewers, generally, it is not that they give certain comments. Sometimes they appreciate our work. So it's always important to thank them for encouraging comments and all of these things. Again, it's again one more type of review. So one more example I'm taking. So the here the reviewer was little bit uh, complaining about the work, like unfortunately this is completely missing, like this no proof is given. But you should not get agitated by all these things, and then we should say that, yeah, as I reply, thanks for your observation on solubility, and then whatever my experimental observation, no precipitation of vanadium is seen in this range of temperature. Nitro have supported with some other statement like purging of nitrogen is done, so it's not possible to precipitate. So all those things I have done for more than 100 cycles. I've taken a lot of time and then I've done. So this will state that whatever the person is telling is like not really correct. I'm just supporting my answer here. So after submission of the reviews, then editor may accept based on the reviews. Final processing of paper, like they put in, the production team will put in paper format and send us for the proofreading, and then paper gets published online. The next, if the paper gets rejected, we should not be very too much take it into mind. If some modifications are really necessary, we should take it as positive, and then we do certain such studies. Or if it is not required, write in a different way so that you can convince, and then submit to another journal. So this way the process goes. So thank you. I don't know whether there's a time for demo. So I'll stop presenting at this moment, and I'm open to the question.
Yeah, let's give a round of applause to all, to Praphulla. You can use the emojis for that. I can see already people are using it. So for question and answers, what we'll do, because as I said, there are almost, I see in my list, there are almost more than 400 participants present. So let's, whatever questions you have, please post it on the window, that is question and answer window. If you have trouble in finding, I see already a few questions in question and answers, but if you have trouble in anywhere, if you have not able to access Q&A, put it in the chat, and others can please wait till for compliments or anything. And please do not ask for feedback or any other link, because attendance is automatic. Feedback will take at the end of the 5th day. So please have patience till then. And before we go to question and answer, Praphulla has given me some polls for all of you to answer. So for people who cannot see the polls, I'll launch one poll right away. So let me share my screen so that you can follow immediately on what I'm doing. Yeah, Praphulla, you can see my screen, right?
Yeah, I can see.
Yeah, so I have some polls right here, what Praphulla had given me to ask. So you can see on my right side, there are some polls. I will open up the polls, so please answer there. If you're not able to find the polls, there is a bottom in your mobile phone or in a system or top of your system. Go to more and apps, you will find the polls. Go to apps and you will find the polls. So I'll launch a first poll. Few of them are quiz, few of them are polls, few of them are open questions, so it's left to you to answer the way you want. But the first question is, good scientific paper should focus on specific problem. Is it true or false? Is it yes or no? So I'll say yes or no. So it's left to you guys. So you can see my screen. What do you think is the answer? Please do answer. Not on the chat, please. Please do answer on the poll. If you're not able to see the poll, just figure out how to see the poll. It's very important because all the sessions will have polls to make it more interactive. So please ensure that you answer this question. We will see the results little later. Let me have launch of the second poll. So the second poll on your screen, all the polls will be visible for you. Please go ahead and answer. Tables and figures are used in a scientific paper to present and explain research results. Is it true or false? Is it yes or no? Do you think tables and figures are used in a scientific paper to present and explain results? Most probably, is it yes or no? Is that please answer accordingly. Please answer as soon as possible. So next one is poll. Let me launch all the polls and quizzes. Everything is present on your screen. Go ahead and answer if you have not. So let's go to the next one. Have you published any research article before? Is the question. So for example, yes, I have submitted. So let's see how many of you have already submitted. I see 75% of you have already published at least one research article. That's what I get to know. 82%. Wow. Most of you have already published in any of them, maybe conference, journal, magazine, the whole gamut of places or opportunities what you have, which Praphulla also showed in her slides. So 77% of you, please go ahead and answer. If you have not answered all the polls which is there, I'll stop in between after some time. So next poll on your screen is, please stop answering on the chat box, please. Is graphical abstract mandatory to publish the article in all journals? So is it mandatory or is it optional? What do you think is the question? This is a quiz. I'm not answering right now. So is graphical abstracts mandatory to publish the articles in all journals? Is it yes or no? Okay, please do answer. We'll release the results in some time. Next quiz question I'm going to launch. So one of the main purpose for including a materials and methods section in a paper is to advertise scientific product, to show that you followed better method compared to other researchers, or to allow other scientists to understand and reproduce your findings. So what is the answer? Is it A, B, or C, or the first option, second option, third option? Which one do you think is the right answer? Okay, to advertise scientific products, to show that you followed better method compared to others, to allow other scientists to understand and reproduce your findings. Okay, so just check what's answer. Let's go back to our previous polls and see who have answered what and how many of you have answered correctly. So yeah, so let me view the results. So good scientific paper should focus on, okay, okay, here right side you can see good scientific paper should focus on specific problems. Many of them have said that's the right answer. Next one, we will also see tables and figures are used in scientific papers to present and explain research. Most of you have said yes. Yes, this is exactly right. But we also do use in literature survey and in some of the things like you want to summarize your conclusions, you want to compare with others' work and your work. So we will be using, but yes, tables and figures are always better to put it in your research results because that's very important. Already you have seen how many of you have published any research article before. 82% of you have said out of 96 responses what you have got. And so let's close this polls so that we don't receive any more responses. And then the next is graphical abstract is mandatory to publish in the article in all journals. Yes, it is kind of optional depending on the journal who wants and who doesn't want. For few of them, they say mandatorily you have to publish because it depends on the domain. Few of them give an option, few journals, and few of them really don't care about your graphical abstract. But it's always better to have graphical abstract to understand if they give you an option to publish using graphical abstract as additional thing for your paper, please do give because it gives you more citations and it gives you more insight about what it is. Okay, So, and let's see the details. We asked one of the main purpose for including a materials and research. Okay, let's see here itself. One of the main purpose for including a materials and method section is in a paper is to advertise scientific production. That's really no. To show that you followed better method, that's not really no. Method may be better, that you will talk more on your results and conclusion, not in your methodology, materials and methods, but it's more to understand about what procedure you have used, and the other researchers can really replicate it. That's all about the polls. So let's go to questions and answers. So I've got pretty good number of questions, I would say. So Praphulla, I'll answer some of them, and I'll also pass on few of them to you so that both of us can share quickly. Conclude. So the first question what we have got is, ma'am, if we find the language of research work is very difficult, then are there any tips to understand in short? So Archana ma'am has asked this. So in short, I would like to add for this, there is something known as too long didn't read. There is something known as too long didn't read. So I can just show you my screen in a second. So you can see my screen, hopefully. So there is something known as too long didn't read. So if you have a huge, so all point is you should read the abstract, then only you'll understand how good the paper is, what is that they have told in that paper, and not technical, but at least you will get to know what is the content of the abstract, which will summarize your paper. But many a times, even if you're not able to understand such things, there is a tool known as too long didn't read. That's something you should be able to see that. And there is one more paper, How to Read a Paper by Keshav. He's from University of Waterloo. He has really summarized the way how you should, yeah, this is the paper which I was talking, though it's very old, 2016, but he has wonderfully summarized how to read a paper. He says it has to go in multiple phases. It's not that first time you should read entire thing. He gives a 3-pass approach. So read this, understand what he says, and try to replicate that whenever you read a paper. This is a wonderful tool, I would say. Too long didn't read is one tool. There is a lot of plugin. You can just Google or YouTube. You can check. There are multiple tutorials on how to do that. And there is another one which I'll post it on the chat window, which I showed to you. How to Read a Paper by Keshav. He's from Waterloo University. He was from that. So he has given that. So any other question? Let's see. And I will like to pass that to Praphulla to answer. So the next question I've got is, on an average, how many research papers should we refer to find the research gap? So Praphulla, you want to take this?
Yeah, that depends on your research interest. So generally, we will refer 10 to 15 papers for certain areas. And if you refer the review articles, also we get to know the analysis of work in that domain. So depends exclusively on the research domain, and then so not really like we can fix in numbers. So it's minimum at least 10 to 15 is required to understand the domain. That's what I would say.
Okay. So yeah, that's very well said. We need to have as many as papers as possible. 10 to 15 is very good, but it again depends on field. As Praphulla said, have more number of papers, more the merrier. We don't have any definite number. 10 to 15 is ideal. At least those numbers to understand what you should be finding out, what research area you should do work. So which is the easiest way to keep the referred articles? So yes, so I think there is a session on paper pile tomorrow where reference managers, we can keep it at one place and how you can refer that. That will be covered tomorrow. So please stay, join us tomorrow. You will get to know more about that question to be answered. So Praphulla, this is for you, madam. Which is the best tool we can use for writing research paper?
Tool for I have written my articles in Word only. So Word, LaTeX, or these are the tools which are used to write the research articles. So this will be addressed by my peers. I think in coming days.
Yeah, so day after tomorrow, you will have a full detailed session of LaTeX, which is one of the tool where you can go ahead and do it. And apart from that, yes, there are multiple reference manager tool to keep track of references. But no, I mean, even me, I have submitted multiple papers in one specific tool, that is Word, where everyone uses. But it's more powerful. Some of the features will be discussed tomorrow for both Word and PowerPoint. At very short, not in detail, because we don't have time to cover everything in detail, but we can do multiple workshops on that in future. So next one is how can we compare the results if the methodology and idea is new? Praphulla, you want to take that?
Oh, okay, so see, always we will refer others' papers and then compare the results. So if it is new, then I think we need to write it very clearly so that the reviewer gets convinced. So some other like fundamental facts and all those things you can use to support your work. So that may be the like fundamental laws and then principles you can state, and then you can say that this is a very new work, and this will fulfill the research gap or address the problem statement.
Yeah, makes sense. So that's very important point which you referred is, I mean, I would say that there is nothing called as new, because the word itself is research. Already somebody has searched, you are researching it, you are reinventing or researching it. So that's what we are doing it. There's nothing called as new. There will be some relevance you can search, somebody would have done. I'm sure we are not doing something which nobody has tried. There'll be someone who have tried in that field, you can check. But if it's totally new, nobody has done it, then it's very difficult to publish also, because people won't believe that what you have done. So that's also another option you should think of. So somebody said join little late. What is the quartile indexed journal exactly? So Q1 quartile journals we'll be discussing tomorrow. What is Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4? We'll have some demos also. So please check that tomorrow. Join the session. You'll have more details about us. So somebody asked, should you mention all the papers you refer in the literature survey, or just mention 2 or 3 out of all the papers that are referred? Praphulla, you want to take this?
Yeah, you have to mention all the papers you have to refer. You have referred. So we cannot, if you are taking any point from that particular paper, definitely you have to refer those papers. If you are referring in the introduction, if you are for one description, if you are referring 3-4 papers, you can analyze those papers and then put it in a statement, and you can number all the papers together. So that can be done. So it's very essential to cite all the papers, refer all the papers.
Yeah. Yes, well said. Yeah, more the merrier every time. But yeah, so what we usually do in research is we cluster the papers. If some concept is told by say 4 or 5 of them, 4 or 5 papers with little same results or varying results, so we cluster them and talk about that research paper in few sentences in our literature survey. Okay, so that's the best method to fit most of the papers which you have referred. Let's go to the next question. So yeah, so before that, I would like to thank Praphulla for taking everything patiently and talking to all of us. But I get messages saying if they can leave. So I'll stop the recording. Everybody please leave if you are not willing to stay back for some more time. But I guess we'll need another 10-15 minutes to wind up with all the many questions what we have got. All of them are valid, so we want to address all of them. So thanks to all my fellow colleagues, thanks to BMSCE, and thanks to all wonderful participants. You have been very active. So if you want, please stay back and listen to the questions what we are going to answer.